Before we begin, let me introduce healthOmind, the organizers for this discussion. healthOmind is a mental wellness startup based in Bangalore. Its efforts are directed towards creating awareness about mental health and well-being in men, women, teens, and children across the nation. healthOmind aspires to build an ecosystem that will enable people to tackle their mental health problems while fighting the stigma around it. healthOmind looks at mental wellness from a holistic perspective, and that's what differentiates them from other organizations. To talk about to talk about how food impacts mental health and the mind gut and the mind food connection, we have Mariam Begg with us. Mariam Begg is a certified health and nutrition coach from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, New York. Her keen interest in health and nutrition has led to a lifetime of learning and researching a more holistic approach to balancing busy urban lifestyles. She has conducted a number of talks, workshops, and YouTube shows on the importance of managing health in simple daily practices, as well as coaching and educating people about plant based diets and raw food classes in simple cooking. Mariam's approach views good health as the coming together of food, mental, and emotional spheres, interpersonal relationships, spirituality, and career as facilitators or impediments in the achievement of optimal health. Hi, Mariam. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi there. Thank you for getting me on. I love talking about how food affects your mental health. It's something that nobody really talks about.
That's fantastic. People are still joining us, so maybe we could wait for a couple of seconds. And I want to be sure that we're audible and visible. So if our attendees could type one in the chat box if we are, and we would begin right away. Great. Thank you so much. So this is just a reminder that we will be taking questions for Mariam towards the end of our discussion. So please stick with us and please enter your questions in the question and answer box and not the chat box. Super. So, Mariam, why don't we begin by a little bit of context setting? Can you tell us why does a health coach is even talking about mental health?
Yeah, so that's a good question because we usually associate food as separate and mental health as separate. Nobody really connects the two. I'm hoping that nowadays it gets more connected. But we usually be like, I get a lot of clients asking me, I just want to lose 5 kgs. I have nothing else. There's no other issues, which is like, I'm like, you know what? That is the issue, right? It's not about just losing weight or getting healthier. It's a whole holistic approach to it. So though I am so much more well known for clean food and eating raw foods and eating plant-based foods, and I advocate them a lot, you will be surprised to hear that for me, nutrition is actually secondary food. And what I have studied as primary food is your career, your relationships, your spirituality, and your exercise. So if you do not have your primary, if you do not navigate those primary foods in the right way and get mentally stable, your food will not be absorbed as well, however healthy the food that you are eating. So it both works in tandem with each other, which is why food is very, very important for mental health. And it's a big part. Doing mental health exercises, reflection, understanding and navigating your daily practices is what is extremely important in my health coaching.
That's very interesting. And this distinction that you've made with career, family, relationships being the
Yes.
primary food and food itself being the secondary food. So
Yes.
what is the response like when you tell people that food is really secondary? You have to take care of things.
Oh my God, that's not something that everybody likes to hear. And it's also something that I realize I need to approach in a certain way. If I tell you, if you're like, you know what, my food's really bad, I need to sort it out, I need to lose weight, my hair's falling, my skin's falling, and I'm like, you know what, you need to start meditating and reflecting immediately, and then it'll start working. it's something that seems a little bit unattainable and unachievable, and not and you don't understand it well, which is why I actually, even though food for me is secondary nutrition, I deal with that first, because that is more approachable, that is more attainable. It's a much more realistic goal. So if you start, and also once you start cleaning up foods, your moods get better, you sleep better. And so it's the beginning, you start, the door opens for you to be able to navigate your mental health, and for you to be able to get more comfortable with being aware of who you are, what your needs are, what your mental state is, your stress levels and everything. So which is why I've started approaching it from the food level first, even though for me that is secondary. It eventually becomes secondary because your mental, what you think is has a lot to do with the way your body functions.
Absolutely. So there is this certain idea about food being as a quick fix to problems in life. Also, there's a lot of information about food available, so people can look it up. People can look up according to their body types, according to their dietary restrictions, and they can really figure
Right.
out what they should and should not eat. But I feel that there's not that much information about the role food plays in, for example, keeping you alert or keeping you productive, or
Yes.
in ensuring that you better navigate your day-to-day really busy lifestyles which you specialize in. So can you
Right.
talk to people about that?
Yeah, so basically what happens is that there's so much information out there, first and foremost. And so when we want to start tackling our health, which everybody does on some level, nobody wakes up in the morning saying, I don't care about my health. Everybody, every single person wants to get healthier. But it's just about giving them realistic goals and giving them stuff that they can understand. So though there's a lot of technical stuff out there, when we first start a health journey, people tend to go a little more technical. Oh my god, I can't mix fruits and vegetables. Oh my god, I have to eat for my body type. I have to eat for whether I'm a cold body or hot body, or what is my dosha, and all these things. The technical things start clouding your brain, and then you give up and you're like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to order some Swiggy. So it's about understanding and getting to know. So what I do is, in the beginning, I keep it really simple, you know. So getting understanding that plant-based foods, your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, your greens, and your whole grains are your medicine. That is what's going to get you healthier. And don't worry about what particular food is. It does the banana have so many calories, or this has so much and that has so much. Every single thing that comes from nature is good for you, as in as whole a state as possible. So once you start having those, you start calming your body down. Your body knows how to, your body is really intelligent. It knows how to make, it's been keeping you alive and well, and actually fooling you, because we tend to think, oh, we ate this for so many years, nothing happened. I didn't sleep for so many years, I worked so hard for so many years, nothing happened. Everything was happening, but your body was dealing with it, your body is processing it. And then as the decades go along, it starts giving way, because it's trying to just deal with everything altogether that you've been throwing at it. So actually doing stuff that is cleaner, because people tend to be like, I've eaten this all my life and nothing happened. But things have been happening, your body's just so fabulous, it's been dealing with it. And let's start, I make people start um, putting less pressure on the body. So just giving it foods that give it less pressure, because your body will function. Surviving for the body is fabulous. It can survive under any conditions, like literally any conditions, right? We have gone through all kinds of things. Each of us in our personal journeys have done crazy stuff to our bodies, and yet we're fine, right? So our bodies, surviving is great. There is a difference between survival and thriving. So thriving is what we are looking for, because then the thriving has a big impact on your mental health, because your alertness, your productivity, doing all that is, it's extremely important for your body to make that shift. It's not just trying to put out fires, survive. It's just not just trying to survive, it's thriving. So we look at first just doing the simple stuff. Do the simple stuff. The more vegetables you eat, the more fruits you eat, the more greens you eat, the more locally available food you eat, the sopus and the stuff that's seasonal, the things that come. You don't need that Washington apple. You don't need something that's flown across the world. Stuff that's reasonable, that's cheap from your local farmer. things like that is the first step. Don't worry about the body type. Don't worry about little nitty-gritties. First, get into this.
Mhm. And could you talk a little more about the impact it has on your mind? So we began by talking about, how
Yes,
food is playing an important role in keeping you alert.
yes,
There's a
yes,
term that I think has great SEO, something called brain fog, because you eat a lot of
yes,
sugar and it leads to brain fog. So how does
yeah.
that?
Yeah, I was a huge. I'm a number one component of brain fog. I had to eat. I am that much of a sugar addict that I had to eat sugar till it hit that point. Eating one spoon of sugar did not suffice, and I'm a carbohydrate addict. So eating carbs and eating sugars were what I needed. It's like a drug because it lights up the same. The sugar lights up the same part of your brain as cocaine does. It's that part of your happiness quota, right? So you have to understanding that sugar is a drug, and you will be addicted to it for most of your life. So sorry, Apekshita, I think I lost you. Are you
No, I'm
on
right
again?
here. I'm right here. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I got frightened. I was talking to a blank screen.
No.
so, so sugar is extremely addictive, and so hence you need to eat that much. It'll keep wanting you because you go through highs, right? It goes through highs and then you crash because the insulin gets released suddenly and it suddenly crashes. Which is why a lot of times after at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you get that crash and you're hungry. So sugar does all these things, and the more refined it is, the more it does stuff to you. So understanding that brain fog is not a great thing because it does not help in productivity. It keeps you awake. Using things that actually cause a lot of damage to your adrenals, keep you awake at all different times. Things like high caffeine, high sugars, eating lots of refined carbs. All of them cause a lot of disruption in the body because your body's just trying to make you not have a heart attack, make the insulin go somewhere, make your sugar go somewhere. It's just trying to deal with all those things. At the same time, you're trying to do your normal work day. It doesn't work. So you'll be alert, extra alert for some time, and then you will crash. So eating foods that have a slow release of insulin, that gradually give you that energy, so you don't crash and you don't bounce up. So things like that are very important when it comes to brain fog. So keeping away from brain fog, I think for me, the thing that worked the best was eating good fats.
Mhm.
So good fats keep you satiated longer, it keeps you fuller, and it does not give you this spike and this drop. So you
Mhm.
don't get that. So there is no question of brain fog with eating good fats.
You introduced yourself as a sugar and carb addict, and
Complete, complete. Yeah.
so I mean, it's very. I have to ask, and how did you make that transition? Like, what kind of shift allowed you to sort of say that
Yeah,
this is
I
a
could eat. I could eat a whole cake. Like I used to eat like my birthday cake before the birthday party from inside. Like so I had to eat it till I got dizzy. Like it was a drug, right? So getting off it. So understanding. A huge part of it is like you see a lot of people who have high sugars are still eating something like bread. Okay, eating something which has refined. Every time you refine something, you're exposing more surfaces, and so then it gets absorbed faster in the body. Sugars release faster in the body. So understanding that you need to eat more whole grains. So I studied that and slowly got off eating a lot more grain. We consider, a lot of us consider ourselves vegetarian, but I think we're a very grainitarian country. Every food, grain is a huge part of our meals, and though whole grains are great, crowding out your plate with more vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, greens, and stuff like that is what will actually release sugars a lot slower. It'll also keep you satiated a lot longer. So, getting off that addiction of needing that much of sugar, needing that much of refined carbs is extremely important. And moving away from it slowly. Like I said, for me, it was the good fats. The good fats completely substituted it. It keeps your brain a lot. Good fats are fabulous for your brain. They
Could you
coat
tell
every
me
cell
what
in your body.
some good fats, like examples of some good fats?
Okay, a good fat would be something that's in nuts, that's in seeds, avocado, coconut. So things like that are extremely good fat for your body. Even a banana has good fat in it. So keeping yourself satiated with, we're very scared. Like a lot of people will be like, but cashew nuts have fat, na? So I'm like, yes, but it has a lot of other stuff as well, which is good for you. And if you eat that fat, you will feel fuller faster. You will feel less hungrier. You will not eat as much. So I can eat a whole cake and I don't know that I've eaten that cake because I have this carb addiction. Like I don't know how to stop. So when I eat a good fat, I eat a lot lesser of it and I'm a lot more satiated. So that shift is really important to slowly start moving away from grains being predominant in your meals, crowding out your plate with more fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, good fats, and things like that.
Absolutely. Before we talk about the gut, which is really the elephant in the room, I also
Yes,
wanted to ask you about. So most of us are at home, and of course, like people
yes,
who have joined us today, and a lot of people that we speak to are knowledge workers. They're working from home, and there's
yes,
really not much physical exercise. There's really not much movement.
right.
How much food do you really need? Maybe your meal sizes need to become smaller. What do you think?
Yeah, the sad part is that we just eat too much. Okay, and we convince ourselves that it's for us. We're eating that chicken, being like it's good protein, but we're not doing that much exercise. We're not going for Mr. Universe, so we don't need that much protein as we convince ourselves of. Yeah, the sad part is we do eat too much. I mean, 100 years ago, people ate once a day, maximum twice a day. Sweets were got like once in a month when a honeycomb, or you harvested some jaggery or something like that. So we didn't have the abundance of stuff that we have thrown at us today. And there's sugar in every single thing. Every time you buy a processed product, you can be sure that there is sugar in it, even if it's a pickle, even if it's something spicy. There is sugar in it to keep the taste calmer, to keep everything in to keep the taste the same, and which is something that we demand. We want the product to taste the same all the time. So how can you take a fruit? If you take a mango, how can that mango taste the same? Or that every mango tastes different. Mango tastes different seasonally. Different months have different tastes in mangoes. But we want to keep that the same so that our maza tastes the same, our mango juice tastes the same. So you have to load it with sugars, right? And then stuff like low fat foods. Low fat foods, we like take away the fat. When you take away the fat from a food, it tastes horrible. So you have to put in a lot of sugar, and it's even more unhealthy. So eating a full fat food would be a lot more beneficial to your body than the low fat foods. So we don't. Yes, fasting has been such a big thing in India for many years, and fasting is so good for you. So, what I do with my clients is I first try to make them kind of close in an eating window. This thing of waking up in the morning, have three things first, then 9 o'clock something, then 10 o'clock something, it's first of all so much of stress on your brain, and it's so much of organization. So, trying to close that in, and people don't believe it. So, when I do my 3-day cleanse, people call me up and they're like, how will I eat only smoothie salad soup for 3 days? How will I manage? I play 2 hours of tennis every day. How am I going to manage? And I'm like, you'll be surprised. If you're eating the right foods, if you're eating the right fats, if you're eating good plant-based nutrition, you will not feel that hungry. We don't need it. We just constantly, it's there in our head. So we're just used to constantly going back and eating stuff. So trying to close in an eating window will be so beneficial for your brain, because your body doesn't spend all its time just digesting. Otherwise, all its energy is spent here. Now it has time to do other stuff. It has time to keep you more alert. You sleep less. You have better quality sleep. And that's when your body will deal with stuff like kind of non-essential stuff like your hair, your skin, your nails. All that starts working a lot better, because your body doesn't is not spending all this time trying to just digest all this food that you're constantly giving it, right?
Absolutely.
So
And I think
yeah,
the gut plays a big role here. So, what is
yes,
gut and what is this mind gut connection that people should start
yeah.
with?
So basically, so many times you listen, you have these. I mean, like every time I do a talk, I used to have a lot of anxiety, and I had these butterflies in my stomach. I would run to the loo, uh, and you never realize that this is the connection, right? When you are stressed, your gut goes all over the place, and I mean, almost 70 to 80% of our immune systems is in our gut.
Mm.
So that's huge. How I mean, the whole functioning of the body, your whole nervous system comes to rest in your immune system in your gut. So everything that's happening in your life is actually playing out in your gut. So every time you eat, so it works both ways. If you eat a bad food, it does not process well enough. Your gut is unhappy, you
Hmm.
know, and it's not getting the nutrition it needs to function on a day-to-day basis. It's not getting it's not being relaxed. It's been given foods that are causing it more and more stress. So it needs to somehow process that food and get it out of the body. It's full of toxins, it's full of chemicals, it's full of colors. Your body has no use for all that, right? So the body stress, it gives out the wrong signal, so you're not as alert. You get brain fog, you get more tired, all that, your productivity goes down. And vice versa, when you're stressed, right, it shuts down your immune system. You go into this fight or flight response where your immune system shuts because it thinks that there is an emergency, and we're constantly in this stressed mode. We're constantly trying to finish 150 things in our day, and we're stressed, and on the way we're trying to put in some food in our body and then run somewhere. Nothing is going to be processed. Nothing is going to be processed. The gut brain connection is so strong. You've experienced it. I mean, haven't you experienced
Absolutely.
um, being stressed and not being able to eat, not being able to process the food? You can't digest your food well. You get gas, you get bloated, you get heartburn. Stuff like that happens to people on a daily basis, and nobody's realizing that it's extremely important, extremely um, it's imperative for you to be much calmer when you eat. Like, we always look at French people, right, and be like, how do they eat all these things and stay so fit? Because they sit down and they eat. Their meals are not on the go, their meals are not running. So all that is such a big it's so important for the good, the proper processing of foods. A lot of people be like, you can eat a salad and I can eat a salad, and it'll both of us will process it completely differently because of the state of our mind. Because we have thousands, tens of thousands of chemical reactions. They're just tens of thousands of chemical reactions in our body all the time. So if you're upset, how do you think your food will ever process well? It
Hmm.
can't, right? Because it's just one body. We have one body. Our gut and our brain and our legs and everything are not separate things. They're all together. It's all together.
So, what do you suggest people should do? Because stress eating is common. People tend to eat more.
Yes, emotional eating. We do emotional eat. So being mindful. So like I said, if you start giving yourselves good fats, if you start giving yourselves clean vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, and greens, like I said, um, your body knows how to recognize it really easily, and it processes it a lot better. It's able to send out what it needs to whatever part of the body. So everything else starts getting a lot calmer. So once you start doing that, unfortunately, yes, clean foods is what it is. So you don't eat the processed foods. You have to limit the junk. You have to limit the processed foods. Try and change your oils. Try and shift over to like Himalayan salt. Your salt, sugar, your fat should be things that you shift immediately, because that's what is in every single meal.
Hmm.
Every single meal has salt, has sugar, has fat. So trying to change those first would be a great thing. Doing a little bit of pre-prep. It's okay if stuff is in the fridge for some time. It's okay if you do one day of pre-prep a week for the rest of the week. Carry some food with you. Don't reach that position where it's 3 o'clock, you're really hungry, there's nothing around, and you have to grab something. So that is something that you need to start avoiding. Have meals that you love. Have your biryani. Enjoy it. Have the even when you're eating, if you're getting your favorite brownie, eat it, enjoy it, say this is something that I love. Enjoy it. Don't, if you're going to be telling yourself throughout that brownie, it's bad for me, it's bad for me, it's bad for me, I'm going to put on weight, it's not good, it's going to do that, because your brain is shaming your body. You're constantly shaming yourself, so it's not going to process well. So even if you want to have your treats, please have your treat, but have them happily and accept them happily. And on the other side, always pre-prep, always keep snacks that are really good for you. Always keep fruits, vegetables around. Keep them in the front of your fridge so that you reach out to them. I recently got a whole batch of star fruit that I never eat, right? Star fruit is something that we are like, it's so abundant in Bangalore, but we never really eat it, right? We're like, what do you do with it and stuff like that. So I just bake them with a little bit of jaggery and I caramelize them, and they're just this beautiful addition on my sandwiches that just give out, and on my salads that just give out. I didn't need dessert. I haven't eaten dessert this whole week because I've just been eating that. So doing simple stuff like that, like really, really simple stuff, is what will make a big difference in your life. Keep a lot of vitamin water. Keep, like, my hot water today has I started using a lot of essential oils. So I add in a lot more or superfoods. I put in some superfood powders and some essential oils, because you never know the quality of food that you're getting may not be that great, right? You can't judge each and everything that you're getting. So it's good to have this little bit of a boost with you, so that it helps. Like this one, I've put in an essential oil that I use, which is a digestive blend. So it just calms my body down a lot. It's calming my gut. So even though I'm on this talk and I'm obviously a little stressed because I'm addressing a lot of people, but I'm actually going for actually calming my gut down and not doing something else in my body. Because if my gut is calmer, I will have more. My body will be much more prepared to be able to address questions.
These are great practices that you're
Yeah.
suggesting. I have so many more questions for you, but I think we have to move on to
Oh no, I've been
our
talking too much, have I?
not at all. I
Sorry.
think this has been most helpful. I would just like to remind our attendees that you can add questions in the question answer box, and we'll take them from Mariam. Yes, so I think one of our first questions is, how can I use food and nutrition to improve my mood? You hinted upon this, but if you could
Yes.
elaborate.
So some food, so yeah, so improving the mood should be things that you love. What are the things that you love? And look for those flavors. So for me, I love orange. I love orange. Like orange, if I breathe an orange, it's like happiness, right? So I always zest my oranges. A zester is one of the best things you can buy for your mood. So oranges and limes are always zested. The zests are put on everything of mine, on all my foods and everything. It's just because you don't need to buy the orange stick, which is full of sugar, right? But you need to just you need that that hit of it. You need the hit of the zest. You need the hit of the flavor. So doing that, cacao, raw cacao, so really good single origin. So chocolate is different from cacao because chocolate has been heated, and it's got from various places and may not be great quality. So getting a good single origin dark chocolate from a reputed company is very important. Spend your money on the more expensive cocoa, which does not have fillers and stuff like that. Cocoa can make you happy.
Could you explain what single origin is for people who might not
Yeah,
know?
so where it comes from a single place, and it's not. So there are a lot of chocolates that you see nowadays that are. If you go online, just look for single origin, raw cacao chocolates, and you'll get a lot. You'll get a lot of options. There are great options. It's grown outside Bangalore. It's amazing. I get raw cacao beans in Bangalore. So cacao is one of the highest antioxidants. It's got like 40 times more antioxidants than blueberries. It's got more iron than a steak. It's got more calcium than milk. It's just fabulous for you. Eating dark leafy greens, put in leafy greens into every single meal. Put it into your rotis, put it into your dals, put it in your soups, put it into your smoothies, put it everywhere, because they will make sure that your lungs get clearer, your immunity builds. They are as close to their green blood. They're really, really close to your blood as possible. Having things like coconut water, extremely good for your mood. I mean, I think for me, my dark chocolate is my mood enhancer with some orange in it. Is really good for your mood. Eat stuff that you like. Eat really good. If you're eating lots of nuts and seeds like I do, I eat a lot of nuts and seeds. Make sure that you soak them. Okay, make sure that they're always soaked and you eat them. They will be a lot better absorbed in your body. So also start looking at the way your body absorbs stuff. So a lot of people can't absorb beans and some grains, and they get a lot of gas. So that means the bacteria in your stomach. So changing the bacteria in your stomach is very important. Putting in more fermented foods, uh, just pickling vegetables really simply in salt. Fermenting vegetables, using miso, using kimchi, make a water kefir. I have something called water kefir that I brew. It's just like it's a fermented drink. So all this is just because our body has trillions of bacteria. So we need to get that bacteria, the flora and the fauna in your body needs to start working in the good way. Because otherwise, if there's lots of bad bacteria, it kind of kills the good bacteria, and it's not good for you.
Absolutely. Our second question is more systemic. I think the person is
Yes.
talking about how plant-based diet has become a fad and that
Yes.
it's not supported by the healthcare industry. So what do you think a nutritionist can do to make the healthcare system more holistic for a diabetic patient?
So what was the question? Was it that I need to change somebody's thinking, or what was the question? Sorry.
Um, Maybe I should
The
just say
plant-based diet is a fad, or is it that she's reading about it as a fad?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Srimati, you
Okay.
could elaborate in the next question that you typed. We'll move on to another question and
Yeah, sure.
so, what is your idea on keto diet? Does it have an impact on emotional health as well?
Hmm. Yeah. So ketosis is a great thing to happen to the body because we have two sources of fuel in our body. We have the glycogen and we have ketones. So the ketones are usually in our muscles and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of sugar gets uh, and fat gets deposited in different parts of our body, right? So it is an alternative source of fuel that most of us don't use all our lives because we're constantly eating. So when you constantly eat, your body uses the ready to use glycogen. So it's constantly doing that. So being able to shift that and make the body look for another source of fuel in your ketones, and your body goes into ketosis, is a very good practice. And that happens a lot when you fast, and happens a lot when you're not eating as many sugars or refined carbs. But the keto diet as itself, in my mind, is not nutritious. So it'll help you lose weight because you're going into ketosis, but it does not supplement nutrition as much. Because for me, nutrition, I mean, if somebody's telling you you can't eat fruits, it's too much sugar, or if you can't eat so many vegetables, for me is not great. It's not something that I believe in. I really believe your fruits and vegetables are your medicine, and they will keep you healthier. So from a healthy point of view, I don't agree with it. From a If you want to lose weight, it does go to your ketones, but there are other ways of getting to your ketones. Like I said, if you fast and you close your eating windows.
So, absolutely. Another question a lot of people face is about the difference between vegetarian and non-vegetarian diets. So, the person asked, how is a non-vegetarian diet different from a plant-based diet?
Yeah.
Nivedita, who's asked this question, says that her mom keeps saying that since you've stopped eating chicken, then you then have an egg or fish to compensate
Yes.
for protein. Firstly, is that correct? And if it is, then how
So,
so?
okay, so firstly, you can get a lot of proteins from the plant-based diet. Eating plant foods, a lot of plant foods have a lot of proteins in them, and just learning to tap them, eating the right amount of them, will give you enough protein. But that is not to say that I'm like, please stop eating meat immediately. For me, the whole um, animal product situation is the reason why I stopped eating it, is because I just don't like the idea of factory farming. And for me, it compromises what is the benefits of an animal product. So for me, eating a chicken that's been completely stressed, has no good nutrition in it, and has been given a lot of antibiotics, will pass on a lot of those antibiotics to me, and we become antibiotic resistant. So things like that have made, I didn't see it as a good quality protein at all, which is why I kind of shifted from eating that. But if you want to still eat it, if you want to eat things like I know liver is really good for the hemoglobin, I know bone broth is really nourishing for the gut. So stuff like that, if you want to still keep eating it, I would not eat it from one, an ethical point of view, and secondly, I'm not rearing chickens in my backyard, and I'm not giving them, I'm not following the rules of nature where it's like okay to kill one or two at a time. I'm doing this factory farming thing. So for me, the nutrition is not great. But if you want to still do that, um, make sure that you supplement with a lot more plant-based protein, a lot more greens, a lot more, because animal foods at the end of the day are inflammatory to the body. They will cause your body to have inflammatory reactions, and inflammation is not great for your gut, because your body has to be able to deal with inflammation for you to be able to process foods well. So balancing them out would be good as well, and not eating a whole bunch. If you look at something called the blue zones, I'll quickly just touch on that, is the people who have the longest longevity. A lot of them eat meat, but they eat it once in a while. Even when we grew up, we ate it once in a while. We didn't eat it every day, everything, all the time, right? So understanding the balance between the two, And yeah, we're not going for Mr. Universe, so we don't need that much of protein.
Unless somebody who's attending is, in which case,
Exactly. If you are an athlete and you want to start getting into it technically, that's a whole different process. I'm talking to people on a regular basis who think they need that much protein to survive.
got it. Another
Something
question
like
about,
hemp, something like hemp seeds is great protein. It's great plant-based protein.
sure, about morning stress. What is the best food to start the day?
So the best thing to start the day is closing your eyes and taking a deep breath. That would be the best food. Start with a little bit of warm water. You can add a little bit of lime in it. But the deep breath in the morning, not the phone. The phone is not the first thing you do. The phone, which is something that I do. I'm very, very guilty of that. But yeah, make sure that you have some kind of a personal practice because you've just woken up. Your body's just waking up. You can't suddenly shock your body with stuff. So make sure that it's slow, start slowly, just hot water can be the best thing to start the day with. Just getting your body okay with something like that. Just drinking hot water. You don't need to do anything else.
Sure. What about acidity? I think it's a related question.
That's a big one. Yeah, a lot of times acidity is your body actually producing a lot less acid because there have been acidic foods that your body's trying to combat that. It's trying to not make as much acid to be able to burn stuff in your body. So your body gets that signal to produce even lesser acids. So a lot of times acidity is a lot less acid than is your body producing less acid than more. So dealing with acidity, actually, they're very simple tools that I use and I give my clients. 20 minutes before a meal, make sure you have a very large glass of water. So it's kind of telling your body that something's going to come and it's trying to ease that body, and your body will start getting ready for whatever's coming. One vegetable that's excellent for acidity is bindi, raw bindi.
Oh,
And though it sounds really yuck, like ew, raw bindi, but if you taste a bindi, you'll realize it's not so offensive at all, and it's crunchy, it's nice. In fact, even when I cook bindi nowadays, I cook the masala, I put in the bindi, and I just cover it, and I put the stove off, so I keep it crunchy. So bindi is extremely good for acidity. Again, eat. I mean, don't count stuff. Don't be particular about stuff. Count colors of your vegetables. Count colors every week. Do not count your steps, your calories, your this, your that. Don't be stressed about anything. Count the number of colors, and you'll start seeing your acidity will go, your sugar will come down, you'll be more alert, you'll sleep better. Everything will start happening with these.
that's fantastic. Raw bindi. It should be a
Robindi.
diet. Great. What about intermittent fasting? Another question is, does intermittent fasting tackle the problem of eating too much? And what is its impact on emotional and physical health?
So intermittent fasting does tackle your problem of eating too much because you have a smaller eating window. So there's only so much you can process. But with any kind of fasting, you have to be able to get into it slowly. People are suddenly getting on it. You can have ulcers if you start fasting really fast without prepping your body for it. Your body is like a little child. If you give it shocks every day, so we used to do this, right? On the weekend, binge. And then on Monday, we'll be like, we're not giving it food. And your body's like waiting for food because it's like a child. It's waiting for that, and you're not giving it that. So your body will start reacting really badly on you. It'll start doing things like holding on to fat because it thinks you're not going to give it fat. You're not going to give it food, right? So it holds on to stuff, and it doesn't release stuff properly. It doesn't function properly because it's scared. So you have to treat the body with kindness, whatever you do. Get off stuff slowly, get in stuff slowly. Get off stuff slowly, get in stuff. Keep the flavors that you like. Make sure, even when you start fasting, make sure you advance it by, like, say, an hour every day. We pretty much anyways fast for 12 hours a day anyways, right? So increasing it to 13 one week, increasing it to 14 one week is fine. And there'll be days that you're hungry. Just eat. It's fine. There's not a problem. But make sure that you do it slowly. These suddenly reading something on the internet and suddenly changing will be really detrimental to your body.
Absolutely. Some questions we've already covered, but I'd like to jump to this question, which is about the relationship between food and sleep. I think that's very, very important. Yes.
Such a big thing, right? So when you start eating stuff that does not shock your adrenals. When you start eating lesser caffeine, when you start eating and drinking a lot less sugary stuff, processed stuff, things that make your body go boom, boom, boom. Okay, you just get a lot calmer. Alcohol is a huge detriment to sleep. So we constantly think of alcohol as something that will help us sleep. So we constantly be like, you know what, I'm tired at the end of the day. I've had such a bad week. I'm not gonna. You never tell yourself, I'm gonna gift myself a yoga class. You'll be like, nah, I want that biryani and I want the alcohol. And though it puts you to sleep, you have extremely disturbed sleep.
Mhm.
So making sure that you hydrate enough when you drink and eat late, make sure that you hydrate enough and make sure that you put in enough B vitamins. When you put in more B vitamins, it's giving your body, replenishing what it's losing. So it will help in your sleep a lot. One vitamin which is extremely important for good sleep is magnesium. So bananas have magnesium. I also take a magnesium supplement now and then. So magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate, both of them are things that are good for sleep. And just again using essential oils, you can I do a lot of essential oil coaching, because just putting stuff on your pillow, putting some good lavender on your pillow, calming yourself down, making sure the environment is better. And I have this problem of I stress, like before I wake up, an hour before I wake up, I'm constantly thinking. So
Mhm.
trying to just reduce all that and just enjoying your bed, taking deep breaths. So that's why I said wake up in the morning, warm water, deep breath, oil pulling, things like that. Practices like that are just calmer. So you will sleep better. But yeah, unfortunately, lots of alcohol is not the greatest thing for sleep.
So I have a related question. So when you speak about vitamins and essential oils, would you suggest
Yes.
that people speak to a nutritionist first before getting these, or what is the procedure?
Yes. So essential oils again are so that's why I say, so first and foremost, so say the food where you get your vitamin mineral, which is why I really emphasize on eating fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, and everything, because they have, each of them have 1,000 different ones, right? So there's loads and loads of great vitamins in your natural foods. Your body knows what to do with it. You very rarely can you OD on that. Your body will release it and get rid of it if it's too much. So that's the best way to take them. But if you need to supplement them for some time, yes, please go for natural ones. Consult a nutritionist, consult a doctor, or consult somebody like me, like a health coach, and I will give you the ones that are natural. So even if I take vitamins, they're made from dried fruits and they're made from dried leaves and things like that. So they're full of, they're not made in um, a lab. So I prefer those. And secondly, with essential oils, it's extremely important to consult somebody who knows more about them, because essential oils don't have any standards, and they you can, and they can be, because one drop of this oil is equivalent to say 20 fruits.
Wow.
So it's extremely potent. So if it hasn't been distilled well, if it's not from a reputed company and you don't know where the source is, it can also have impurities. And the impurities will also go into your system. So it can cause more damage than good. So it's extremely important to know the right ones to buy.
Yeah, this is risky business. Like I think from Health of
Yes.
Mind, we just like to caution people that please talk to somebody before taking this.
Yes.
Not do.
Yes. Always. I mean, being well informed, or consulting somebody who's well informed is what's most important. You do that for your money. You do that for your school. You do that for your kids. So why can't you do that for your health?
Absolutely. We're short on time, but I do want to take this question. Your thoughts on pre-workout and post-workout foods? I think this is important. People
So it
should.
depends on the workout. If you're a sports person or you're running for Ironman, there are very important things that you need. But I'm really sorry, but I'm going into that zone of you don't need that much food. So if you're moderates like me, who are not crazy exercising every day and not using as much energy, I find myself having more energy when I eat lesser, cleaner foods. So
Mhm.
I find you don't need, like I said, if for a pre-workout meal, you need to use that glycogen that's just been that you've just ingested. So if you're doing something that's a hardcore thing, you will probably need it. But otherwise, I really don't see myself wanting it. I used to not be able to, I mean, I used to be like, oh my God, I'm working out. So I'm feeling, it was all very mental. It was mental. And now I eat 4 hours after I work out and there's no problem. So it's a whole, again, getting your body used to something that's slow. I really don't think you need as much as we think we need.
Absolutely. So I think we're out of time, but I do want to tell everybody that Mariam will be hosting a workshop for healthOmind in January or February. So please keep an eye out on the social media pages and do continue to engage with us. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much. I hope you all got some insights
Absolutely,
in
many
it.
insights. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to like run to eat the fruit now. I'm pumped for the discussion. So I'm definitely
Yeah.
will. And
So yeah, I'm looking forward to January, and I hope that we'll do some good stuff then. So keep a lookout, guys.
yes, great. Thank you so much for joining us.